My girlfriend put up the dumbest thing I have ever read on the internet, and it completely destroyed our lives. I am not even stretching the truth here. It all kicked off last Tuesday. I was looking through my telephone during my lunch hour when I spotted the post from my girlfriend, Amanda. It was one of those cheesy motivational pictures with a sun going down in the background, but the words were what really hit me. It said, "Do not let your boyfriend stop you from finding your husband." I just looked at it in shock. We have been together for 4 years. We live in an apartment that I owned before she even moved to this town. And this is what she decides to broadcast for the whole world to see. I did not even take a second to think. I just typed a comment that said, "Good luck finding him." Then I went over to my own profile, switched my relationship status to single, and I made sure to tag her mother, her father, and her sister in the post. Her post vanished within a few minutes. My telephone, on the other hand, started blowing up. First, the text messages from her started rolling in. It was just a bunch of question marks at first. Then she asked, "What did you do?" That was followed by, "Take that down right now." I did not answer any of them. Then her sister, Megan, sent me a message. She asked, "Jason, what is happening? Amanda is losing her mind." I sent Megan a picture of the post Amanda had made. Her only answer was, "Oh. Yeah. Oh." Her mother called me 2 times, but I let it go straight to voicemail. I did not need to listen to any screaming. I put my phone on silent mode and tried to get back to my job, but the anger felt like a cold, hard rock sitting in my gut. I knew it was going to be a disaster when I got home. I was correct. The moment I walked through the front door of my place, she was standing right there in the center of the living room with her arms folded across her chest. Her face was swollen and red from crying, but now she just looked furious. "You embarrassed me," she whispered angrily. "You did that to yourself," I replied. I dropped my keys into the bowl by the door and walked right past her into the kitchen to get a bottle of water. I was not going to have this argument while I was thirsty. It was just a quote. It did not mean anything, she yelled as she followed me. Everyone posts things like that. No, Amanda, they do not. Not when they are supposed to be in a serious relationship, I said as I twisted the cap off the bottle. What exactly was I supposed to think? That you were just looking around for the guy who is going to replace me while I pay our rent? That is so unfair, she said. You know I am not like that. I just laughed, but it was not a happy laugh. Your post said the exact opposite. You told the whole world that I was just a placeholder. You called me a temporary roadblock. Well, the roadblock has been removed. You are welcome. She started crying again, but this time it was that angry, frustrated type of crying. So, that is it. For years and you just throw it all in the trash over one dumb post. And you had to tag my family. My mother is freaking out. Good. Maybe she can come over and help you pack up your stuff, I said. I walked back into the living room and sat down on the sofa. I picked up the television remote. I want you out of here by the end of the month. Her whole attitude changed in a split second. The tears stopped immediately. A mean, confident little smirk showed up on her face. No, she said simply. I looked up from the television guide. What do you mean, no? I mean, no. I am not leaving. I live here. I get my mail delivered here. My name is on the lease. You cannot just kick me out, Jason. That is not how it works. I have tenant rights. She stood there looking so proud of herself for knowing that little legal fact. She truly thought she had me cornered. She thought she could live here for free while she planned her next step. She was probably going to try out guys for the role of husband at the same time. The idea of her bringing another man into my home and sleeping in the bed that I paid for while I was trapped there made something inside my head break. We will see about that, I said. My voice was very quiet and dangerous. She just shrugged her shoulders, spun around on her heel, and marched into the bedroom. She slammed the door shut behind her. I sat on the sofa for a long time with the television buzzing in the background. I started to come up with a plan. This was not just a breakup any longer. This was a war. The next few days were their own special type of hell. 1 minute she would be super sweet and ask me what I wanted to eat for dinner. The next minute she would be a monster, blasting music until 2 o'clock in the morning on a Tuesday. She started inviting friends over all the time. They were loud, annoying people who left messes that I always had to clean up. One night, I came home and found one of her friends there. It was a guy named Kyle who had a very punchable face. He was sitting on my couch, drinking my beer, and resting his feet on my coffee table. I walked in, looked at him, looked at Amanda, and simply said, "Get him out of here." Amanda rolled her eyes at me. "Jason, do not be a jerk. This is Kyle. We are just hanging out." I replied, "I do not care if he is the Pope. Get him out of my apartment right now." The fight that followed was huge. It ended with her screaming that she could have anyone she wanted over because it was her apartment, too. That was her major mistake. The next morning, I sent an email to my landlord, Mr. Kowalski. He is a grumpy old man who has owned the building for 40 years. He hates drama more than he hates anything else in the world. I wrote, subject: lease question, apartment 4B. Hello, Mr. Kowalski. I hope you are doing well. I have a quick question regarding our lease agreement. My co-tenant, Amanda, and I have recently ended our relationship. She has started inviting guests over at all hours. This is creating a lot of noise and violating what I believe is the quiet enjoyment rule for myself and possibly other tenants. Could you please explain the policy on overnight guests and loud noise as it is written in our signed lease? I have attached a copy for you to look at. I attached the PDF file of our lease that I had saved on my computer. I had already read it 3 times. An hour later, I received a reply. Mr. Kowalski was very efficient. His email was direct. Jason, see Section 7, Clause C of your lease agreement. Guests of tenants are not allowed to stay for more than 3 consecutive nights in any 30-day period without written permission from the landlord. Tenants are responsible for the behavior of their guests. Any activity that disturbs the peace and quiet of other tenants, as decided by the landlord, is a direct violation of this lease. This is your only warning. Any future complaints from you or other tenants about noise or unauthorized guests will result in a formal notice to cure or quit being sent to both leaseholders. This notice will give you 3 days to fix the violation, meaning the guest leaves for good, or you must leave the property. Regards, D. Kowalski, Building Management. I saved that email as a PDF file. That night, Amanda brought Kyle over again. They were being loud in the living room and laughing at some awful reality television show. I walked out of my bedroom with my telephone in my hand. Amanda, he needs to leave, I said calmly. We have been over this. I am not. I cut her off. He needs to leave right now, or we will both get evicted. I held up my phone and showed her the email from Mr. Kowalski. I watched her face as she read it. All the color drained out of her skin. All that cocky confidence she had just disappeared, and I saw a flash of pure panic in her eyes. You went to the landlord? She whispered. She looked terrified. You said it was your apartment, too, I replied, copying the tone of voice she used the other night. That means you are responsible for following the rules, just like I am. He leaves in the next 5 minutes, or I am calling Mr. Kowalski to report a lease violation. It is your choice. Kyle, who had been watching us go back and forth like he was watching a tennis match, suddenly looked very uncomfortable. He stood up and grabbed his jacket. "Hey man, it is cool," he said. "I was just leaving anyway." He practically ran out the door. Amanda just stared at me. Her mouth was opening and closing like a fish, but nothing was coming out. She had nothing to say. I had taken away her new favorite toy. She retreated into the bedroom, and I finally had the first quiet night I had enjoyed in a week. It was a small victory, but it was a start. The threat of eviction hung in the air now. She knew I was serious. She had a deadline now, whether she liked it or not. With the threat of getting kicked out looming over her head, Amanda changed her strategy. She could not use the apartment as a weapon anymore, so she moved on to our stuff. The next Saturday, while I was out buying groceries, she sent me a long, rambling text message. It was a list. It was a list of everything in the apartment that she was claiming belonged to her. The list included the 65-inch OLED television in the living room, the custom gaming computer on my desk, the surround sound system, and even the expensive espresso machine in the kitchen. She ended the text message with, "These were gifts and things we bought together, so I will be taking them when I move out. We can be adults about this and split things fairly." I read the text while standing in the cereal aisle, and I almost laughed out loud. Fairly? Not a single item on her list had been purchased with her money. The television was bought with my bonus from work 2 years ago. I built that computer myself, part by part, over 6 months. The espresso machine was a birthday gift I bought for myself. She had contributed exactly $0 to any of it. This was not about fairness. It was about leverage. She was trying to hurt me financially on her way out the door. I did not reply to the text. I finished my shopping, went home, and put everything away. She was in the bedroom making a point of ignoring me. I went into my office and started digging through my digital files. It took me about an hour, but I found every single one of them. I found the digital receipt from Best Buy for the television with my name and my credit card number on it. It was dated October 17, 2023. I found the series of invoices from Newegg and Amazon for every single component in my computer, from the motherboard to the graphics card. I found the receipt from Williams-Sonoma for the espresso machine. I saved them all into a single folder on my desktop and named it Evidence. Then I scrolled way back through my text history with her. I found a message from the day after I had the television mounted on the wall. It was a picture of her smiling on the couch with the new television in the background. Her text underneath it, sent at 8:14 in the evening on October 18, 2023, read, "Movie night is so much better on your insane new television. Thanks for letting me use it." I took a screenshot of that conversation. It felt good, like I was stacking up ammunition. My friend Mike called while I was organizing the files. "How is life in the war zone?" he asked. "I am about to get tactical," I replied. I explained her latest move and the list of demands she made. "No way," he said. "She is really trying to take your computer. Does she even know how to turn that thing on?" Mike asked. "It does not matter," I said. "It is about hurting me. But I have an idea. Are you busy tonight? And do you have some space in your garage?" An hour later, Mike pulled up in his truck. Amanda was out with friends. I knew this because she has that annoying habit of posting her every move on Instagram. We worked quickly. We carefully took the television off the wall and wrapped it in blankets. We disconnected my entire computer setup, the tower, the monitors, the keyboard, everything, and loaded it into the bed of his truck. We took the surround sound speakers, the subwoofer, and the espresso machine. In 30 minutes, every high-value item from her list was gone. The living room looked empty and sad with a giant blank space on the wall. I went back inside, opened the folder named Evidence, and wrote an email to Amanda. I attached every single receipt and the screenshot of her text message. The subject line was regarding your list. The body of the email said, "Amanda, I received your text. It seems you are mistaken about the ownership of several items in the apartment. As you can see from the attached documents, all the items you listed were purchased solely by me. They were not gifts, nor were they purchased jointly. To prevent any further confusion during your move-out process, I have moved these items to a secure off-site location for safekeeping. They will be returned to the apartment after you have fully vacated the premises and returned your key. Jason." I hit the send button. Then I texted her a single message. "Check your email." The response was almost instant. My telephone rang. It was her. I let it go to voicemail. It rang again. I declined the call. A flood of text messages came through. They were a frantic mess of typos and rage. "Where is my television? You cannot do that. I am calling the cops." I replied once. "They are not your things, Amanda. The police will be very interested to see the receipts I have. The ones I just emailed you." The text stopped. The phone went silent. I knew she had no move left to make. I had the proof and I had the possessions. She could not hold them hostage anymore. I sat down on the sofa in my empty-looking living room, and for the first time in a week, I felt like I could breathe again. The silence was wonderful. Losing the battle for the apartment and the possessions sent Amanda into a total meltdown. She had no leverage left, so she turned to the only weapon she had remaining. Her words. She decided that if she could not get my stuff, she would try to destroy my reputation. It started slowly. A few of our mutual friends started acting weird. Text messages would go unanswered. I got uninvited from a weekly game night through a short message from the host saying, "Hey man, I think it is best if you sit this one out for a bit. Things are just too awkward." I knew it was her. Mike confirmed it. He called me one afternoon, and his voice sounded low and angry. "Dude, you need to see this." Amanda had started a group chat. She was in there with like 10 of our friends, plus her sister and a cousin. She was going nuclear. Mike added me to a separate chat and forwarded me the screenshots. My stomach turned as I read them. Amanda had posted carefully cropped pieces of our old text arguments. She had selected only my responses, stripping away all the context. A message where I said, "I am not discussing this anymore tonight," was presented as me being emotionally abusive and giving her the silent treatment. A text where I told her, "You cannot just spend that much money without talking to me," which was about a ridiculously expensive and non-refundable vacation she tried to book on our joint credit card, was framed as me being financially controlling. She had written a long paragraph to go with the screenshots. "I know you all love Jason, but you do not know what he was like behind closed doors. This is just a tiny sample of how he controlled everything and wore me down emotionally. I am just lucky I got out when I did. I am so sorry to do this, but I feel like you all deserve to know the truth about who he really is." It was a masterpiece of manipulation. She was playing the victim perfectly. And judging from the replies in the chat, some people were actually buying it. There were messages of support, with people saying, "I am so sorry, Amanda, and we had no idea." I felt sick to my stomach. These were people I had known for years. These were people I considered to be my friends, and they were turning on me based on a handful of cropped messages taken out of context. The old me would have been crushed. But the new me, the one forged in the fire of the last few weeks, just turned cold. I did not respond in the group chat. That is exactly what she wanted. She wanted a messy, public fight where I would look defensive and angry, which would just prove her point. I was not going to give her that satisfaction. Instead, I thought about the one person in her family who always seemed to have a level head on his shoulders. That was her dad, Robert. We were not close, but we had always gotten along well. He was a quiet, serious man who valued honesty and hated drama. He was the complete opposite of Amanda's mother, who enabled her every wish. I spent the rest of the afternoon gathering my own evidence. I went through years of text messages. I found the full, unedited conversations from every single screenshot she had posted. I put them side by side with her cropped versions, highlighting the parts she had conveniently deleted. Take the argument about financial control. The full text showed her apology right after. She wrote, "You are right. I should have asked first. That was stupid of me." Take the silent treatment accusation. The texts right before that showed her screaming at me via text for 3 solid hours because I had to work late and could not make it to dinner with her friends. My text was sent at 1 o'clock in the morning when I just could not fight anymore. I also had a secret weapon. A few nights ago, during one of her tantrums about the television, I had quietly started a voice recording on my telephone, which I left on the kitchen counter. One-party consent for recording is legal in our state, and I had a feeling it might come in handy. In the recording, she was not a victim. She was screaming, calling me names, and threatening to destroy me for embarrassing her. The difference between the fragile victim in the group chat and the screeching woman on that audio file was shocking. I compiled everything into a neat email, including all the side-by-side screenshot comparisons. I attached the audio file, naming it Amanda Verbal Abuse Sample.mp3. Then I began to write. The email was addressed to her father, Robert. Subject: a difficult situation regarding Amanda. Dear Robert, I am writing to you under extremely difficult circumstances, and I sincerely apologize for involving you. I always respected you a great deal during my time with Amanda. Amanda has recently created a group chat with our mutual friends and has been sharing manipulated and out-of-context text messages to paint a picture of me as being controlling and emotionally abusive. These are serious and false accusations that could damage my personal and professional reputation. I would not be contacting you if this were just a simple breakup drama, but her actions have escalated to outright defamation. I have attached a document containing her cropped screenshots alongside the full, unedited conversations for your review. You will see that she has on purpose removed all the context to twist reality. I have also attached a short audio file from a recent conversation inside our apartment. I am warning you, it is unpleasant to listen to, but it is an accurate picture of the behavior I have been dealing with. It is not the behavior of a victim. I am not asking you to take sides. I am only asking you to see the truth. I hope you can speak to your daughter and convince her to stop this harmful campaign of lies before she does damage to herself and others that cannot be fixed. Sincerely, Jason. I read the email over one last time. It was professional, respectful, and totally damning. I hit the send button at 6:05 in the evening. I did not hear a peep for 2 hours. Then my telephone buzzed. It was a text message from a number I did not recognize. This is Robert. I have seen everything. I am dealing with this. I am very sorry, Jason. 20 minutes after that, the group chat blew up. Amanda posted, "My dad is calling me. What did you do, you psycho?" Then she must have deleted it because the message vanished. Another friend in the chat, one who had been on my side the whole time, texted me privately. "Dude, Amanda just left the group. Her sister Megan just posted, 'Everyone, please just drop this. It is over.' I never found out what Robert said to her. I do not need to know." The smear campaign stopped dead in its tracks. The next day, 2 of the friends who had iced me out sent me awkward text messages apologizing. I accepted their apologies, but I knew things would never be the same. Amanda was out of my social life for good. 3 days later, I came home from work to find all her things were gone. The key was sitting on the kitchen counter with a note that just said, "I hate you." It was the most beautiful thing I had ever read. Life returned to normal, or at least a new version of it. I got my television and my computer back from Mike's place, set up my living room the way I always wanted it, and enjoyed the peace and quiet. Months went by. I dated a little bit, focused on my job, and reconnected with the friends who had stuck by me. I barely thought about Amanda, except for the occasional feeling of disgust when I remembered how she had acted. Then, about 6 months after the breakup, the drama found its way back to me. Mike sent me a screenshot from Instagram. It was a post from Amanda. She was flashing a ridiculously large, tacky engagement ring. She was posing with some guy I vaguely recognized. It was Kyle, the guy I had kicked out of my apartment all those months ago. The caption was pure nonsense. Amanda wrote, "I said yes. Sometimes you have to leave the boy behind to find the husband of your dreams. Cannot wait to start my forever with my king." I rolled my eyes so hard I almost pulled a muscle. It was pathetic, but it was also a relief. She was someone else's problem now. The post was followed by a flood of stories about their wedding plans. They were moving fast. She announced they were having a massive engagement party at the Grand, a fancy upscale restaurant and event space downtown. She made sure to tag the venue in every single post, showing off the menu selections, the flower arrangements, and the custom cocktail list. It was a full-scale social media production designed to show everyone how much she had won the breakup. Something about it bugged me. The whole thing felt desperate and rushed. I knew for a fact that Kyle worked a dead-end sales job and had 2 roommates. There was no way he could afford a party at the Grand, let alone the ring on her finger. And I knew Amanda's finances were a disaster. She lived paycheck to paycheck and had a mountain of credit card debt. So, who was paying for all of this? Out of curiosity, I did a little digging. The Grand had a public-facing events team, and I had actually worked with one of their managers, a woman named Lisa, to plan a corporate holiday party a couple of years back. I still had her email address. I also browsed the website for the Grand and found their private events policy packet available for download. I scanned the PDF file, and one section jumped out at me. It was their payment policy, and it was ironclad. Section 4, Payment Schedule. A non-refundable deposit of 50% of the estimated total is required to secure a date. The remaining 50% balance is due and must be paid in full no less than 14 business days prior to the event date. Any outstanding balance on the day of the event for additional services, for example, open bar overages, must be settled before the conclusion of the event. The Grand reserves the right to cancel any event for which the final payment has not been received by the deadline. I remembered the chaos of our work party and how strict Lisa had been about getting the final check from my company 2 weeks out. They did not mess around. Amanda's party was scheduled for a Saturday that was just 3 weeks away. I wondered if she had bothered to read the fine print. A week before the party, an idea began to form in my mind. It was a terrible, beautiful, petty idea. It was a long shot, but the thought of it was too delicious to ignore. I created a new anonymous email address. It took 5 minutes. The night of the engagement party, I saw the pictures start to pop up on social media from some of our old mutual acquaintances. There was Amanda in a white dress, and Kyle in a suit that did not fit him right. Both of them had fake smiles plastered on their faces. They were there. The guests were arriving. Everything seemed to be going according to plan. At 7:30 in the evening, half an hour after the party was scheduled to start, I logged into my anonymous email account. I sent a message to Lisa, the event manager at the Grand. The subject line was, "A friendly warning regarding your Saturday night event, Amanda and Kyle." The email was short and to the point. "Miss Thompson, I am a former client, and I wanted to pass along some information that might be relevant to your event tonight. The bride-to-be, Amanda, has a documented history of financial instability and of expecting her partners to cover her expenses. I just wanted to ensure you have secured your final payment for the evening's festivities. She talks a big game but does not always follow through. To give you some context on her character, I have attached a screenshot. This is a public social media post she made while in a previous long-term relationship just before she left that partner. Hope the night goes smoothly for you. I attached the original screenshot. It was the one that started it all. It was that stupid quote with the sunset background that said, "Do not let your boyfriend stop you from finding your husband." I hit the send button, closed the laptop, and went to watch a movie. I had planted the seed. Now I just had to wait and see if it would grow. I did not have to wait long. About an hour and a half later, my telephone started buzzing. It was Mike. I answered. "You are not going to believe what I just heard," he said. He was laughing so hard he could barely speak. "One of my coworkers was at the party as a +1, and he has been feeding me live updates." According to Mike, Lisa, the manager, received my email. She got spooked, so she had quietly pulled Kyle aside and asked to confirm that the final payment had been made. Kyle, looking confused, said he thought Amanda's father was covering the whole thing as a gift. So, Lisa went to find Amanda. She pulled Amanda aside and, in the middle of her own party, asked for the outstanding balance of over $5,000. Amanda, who was now cornered, admitted that she thought Kyle had paid it. The whole thing unraveled right there on the floor of the fancy restaurant. Kyle and Amanda started arguing in hushed, angry whispers. Then Kyle went to find Amanda's dad, Robert, who confirmed he had only given them a check for a couple of $1,000s as a gift toward the party, not to pay for the entire thing. He had assumed correctly that two engaged adults would be able to cover their own party costs. The argument escalated. Kyle realized he had been played by Amanda, who clearly expected him to magically produce the money. He lost it. Voices were raised. Guests started to stare. The manager, seeing a disaster unfolding and a bill going unpaid, put her foot down. She told them to pay the bill right that second or the party was over. The bar was shut down, and the kitchen staff was told to stop bringing out any more food. The embarrassment in front of everyone was just too much to handle. Kyle and Amanda had one last huge fight right next to the coat check area. According to the story, he called her a liar and a manipulative gold digger. He threw the box for the ring at her, not the ring itself, just the empty box, and then he stormed out of the restaurant. He left her standing there in her white dress with her family and all of their friends watching her. The celebration was officially dead. The guests awkwardly shuffled out the doors and into the night. Mike was still laughing hard on the other end of the telephone line. "He literally walked out on her at their own engagement party," he said. "You cannot make this stuff up." After we hung up the phone, I sat there in the quiet of my apartment. The light from the television screen was washing over the room. My telephone vibrated one last time. It was a text message from Mike. He wrote, "Heard the party was a train wreck. Fiancé walked out." I smiled. It was a real, genuine smile. I typed out my answer. "It looks like she is still looking for her husband."